San Diego Pride festivities are getting underway this week, and more than 300,000 people are expected at the parade this Saturday. Joining us now with more on what you can expect is Fernando Lopez Jr., who is the executive director of San Diego Pride. Fernando, thanks for being with us here today.
Happy Pride. Thanks so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. You know, we'll get into the event itself. What's new this year at the festival? Bigger and better than ever?
Absolutely. You know, I think we were all coming off of COVID for a few years, right? And folks are ready to come out and celebrate. If ticket sales are any indication, it's going to be a record-breaking year. And I think, you know, new this year, we're always changing who we're highlighting, who the honorees are, who's going to be performing at the festival. And one of the big new honorees this year is our drag community. You know, they're going to be leading off the parade. It's going to be exciting to see somewhere around 80 drag queens kicking off that parade this year. I think we've all been aware that our drag community has been under attack all across this country. And so celebrating them, having them at the very front of the parade so the entire community has their back is going to be an amazing sight this year.
It's a long walk and some very high heels.
Yeah, I'm sure they can do it. I have every faith in them.
They will fight through. We're entering a heat wave of sorts. I don't know if you saw Carlene Chavis earlier. It's going to be very hot. What kind of additional precautions do you need to take?
So what we do for things like that is we just bring a ton of extra water to the parade, to the festival, make sure that folks are hydrated, of course, our volunteers, asking folks to maybe leave the pets at home, right? I know folks love their fur babies and want to bring them out to the parade, but it's really hot, and so you got to take care of those fur babies. But there's water there. We'll have full medical all throughout the parade and the festival. It's just staying hydrated, staying cool, staying in the shade. That's the great thing about the festival in Balboa Park is all those trees and the cool. You get that nice ocean breeze coming in. And
it's at the end of the route, so if people have been marching along, they can take a little break in the shade. Pride is a big celebration. It is a big party in a lot of ways, but it's also about establishing visibility, about showing acceptance. How is San Diego doing as a community on that front in supporting the LGBTQ community here?
You know, thanks for asking that. I think most folks know at this point, hopefully, that Pride was really born out of rebellion, right? It was the Stonewall riots in 1969 where our community stood up and fought back against legal and systemic police brutality and state-sanctioned violence. And we commemorate that every single year. Every Friday of Pride, we have the Spirit of Stonewall rally where we honor our origins, celebrate the great work that's being done by so many of our heroes, and we listen to our speakers and the call to the work ahead, right? We know that this is a record-breaking year for anti-LGBTQ legislation, over 700 pieces of anti-LGBTQ legislation. And it's not just happening all across the country, it's happening all over San Diego County with protests at libraries. You saw what happened at the YMCA in Santee and at school boards and city council meetings all across San Diego County. So we're on the front lines of that work every single day, and we'll be highlighting that activism and that advocacy all throughout the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Do you feel like it's a growing anti-LGBTQ sentiment, as in the numbers of people, or do you think that the people who have always felt that way are just being louder right now?
I think we've seen some permissiveness for the increase in anti-API hate, racial injustice, the attacks on voting rights, abortion protection in the LGBT community. But I think you bring up a good point. Really, if you look at the trends, support for full federal equality for the LGBT community is at record highs. More than 80% of the American public believe that the LGBT community should be fully protected under the law, which we aren't currently. And so what I think it is really this permissiveness that's happened on these extremists who are really just, I think, seeing that the end of that reign of hatred and discrimination towards the LGBT community is coming to an end. It feels like the death rattle more than an upswell of anything.
And how does Pride in San Diego fight back against that? And you know, I hate to get too granular. Is there anything you're doing on a political level to support people in these states where these laws, hundreds of them this year, are being passed by states?
Absolutely. So one of the great things about San Diego Pride is we're a year-round education and advocacy organization, and we're actually the most philanthropic pride in the world. So when you come to the festival, when you support the parade, when you buy a beverage, you're actually helping to fund that year-round work that we do. We have over 40 year-round education and advocacy programs that do policy work, capacity building, even nonpartisan voter engagement to make sure that our community and our supporters are turning out to vote. And we actually help folks all over the country, whether it's national policy or GOTV work. So So when we put out the call for volunteers and we're asking you to come and help those other states to fight these initiatives and turn out our community to vote, please answer that call.
We only have a little time left, but you have those big broad strokes, and then you do the narrow one too. People who they come out, their families aren't accepting that kind of thing. Do you still just wrap your arms and help people going through that transition?
So one of the things that I love about San Diego Pride or any Pride is you always remember your first, right? And then for so many people, it's the first LGBT event that you go to. It's the first time you volunteer for an LGBT organization, and it's really a place where you find community, connection, and your found family. So we do that work 365 days a year, and of course the biggest thing is coming up this weekend.
Seems like it lifts you up to be able to do that every day. Fernando Lopez Jr., Director of San Diego Pride, just a few days away. Looking forward to being a part of it. We have a float in it, an entry in it again. Float. We have a trolley, and a bunch of us walking around. We'll be sweating completely and enjoying it. Thanks for being here, and don't forget, if you cannot make it to this year's San Diego Pride Parade, you can see it live on CBS 8+. We'll live stream the parade Saturday starting at 10 a.m., covering it all from the start in Hillcrest to the end in Balboa Park. Our own Jesse Pagan and Evan Narani, they'll anchor our coverage. Again, that's Saturday, July 15th, starting at 10 a.m. on CBS 8+. You can get that app by searching for CBS 8 San Diego on your Roku or Fire TV, and we're on Apple TV now as well.